anti-aging skincare routine is actually aging you faster. We're diving into the raw, unfiltered truth about modern skincare, the surprising power of simple, natural ingredients, and why your skin is a direct reflection of your overall health. This conversation will change the way you think about what you put on your face. Some of the topics we touch on in this interview include the importance of natural skincare, morning skin routine tips, what to look for in your favorite products to make sure they're formulating with clean ingredients, the history and usage of clay masks, some of the most promising and unique ingredients in state-of-the-art skincare, how the packaging of your personal care product can either improve your results or it can expose you to phthalates and microplastics and other things that you really don't want to be exposed to. We also discuss the role of essential oils, how you can detoxify your skin, and a whole lot more. Our guest this week is Hnilo. Andy has an interesting but tragic story. On the night of March 20th, 2011, Andy was struck by a series of large SUVs while crossing a busy street in downtown LA. He suffered a collapsed lung, several broken ribs, and a severe compound fracture of his jaw, which was broken in 5 places, putting his aspiring modeling career in jeopardy. Out of desperation to repair his own facial scarring, he began making his own natural skincare products at home. Through meticulous research, he carefully sourced active ingredients that would accelerate his skin's healing process, using himself as his biggest science experiment. He was back on a runway just 8 weeks later. After sharing the results he saw with his homemade clay mask and a small loan to get his business off the ground, Alitura was born, with a commitment to using only the cleanest, all-natural ingredients in his products. And those aren't just claims either. They're backed up by third parties thoroughly evaluating and certifying the Alitura line of products. As mentioned later in the show, these are some of my favorite personal care products as well. If you want to give them a shot, you can use the code URBAN on alitura.com, ALITURA, and that will save you 20% on your order. I also wrote an article on biohacking skincare, which you can find in the show notes for this episode, which will be at mindbodypeak.com/201. One last thing before we get started. What are you up to on Saturday, April 12th and Sunday, April 13th? If you don't have plans yet, I'd love for you to join me at the Health Optimization Summit here in Austin, Texas. It's going to be one of the greatest health and wellness and biohacking and longevity events of the year. There will be 35 world-leading speakers, over 100 cutting-edge brands, and 2,000 people in attendance getting the inside scoop on all of this. To join us, go to healthoptimization with an S, not a Z, .com and use the code NICK to save 10%. Again, that's healthoptimization.com and the code NICK will save you 10%. See you there. All right. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this interview with Andy. Andy, welcome to the podcast.
Nick, how's it going? Finally got this going.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this one. We're going to have a great one on all things skincare and natural skincare, why that's important, and specifically what it is that you're doing over at Alitura.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, before we get started, I woke up this morning with a puffy and inflamed face. Anyone tuning into the YouTube version of this show will notice that my skin is a little more red, and I'm not usually this way. I had some kava last night, a new brand. Perhaps there was heavy metals or some contaminants in it, but I'm just a little puffier than I'd like. Since this is your realm, what would you recommend for me to do to look my best?
Nah, dude, first off, I wouldn't beat yourself up. You're a handsome dude. But what I would do is I would cleanse first and then use a microneedle derma roller. We've all been there, by the way. And so recently I had a similar experience. Not sure what it was. Now I'm thinking about kava. But I just underneath the eyes, just a little slight roll, the microneedle derma roller, little, maybe behind the ear to keep the sagging neck skin a little tight. And then I would mix up a clay mask, Alitura or not, but even bentonite on its own. Just water, apple cider vinegar, add some essential oils if you want. But the capillary constriction, what you want to do is get the stagnant capillaries circulated. The microcirculation to the surface of the skin is with the clay mask. And then also with the derma roller, you're allowing the ingredients to sink in a little bit further past the epidermis, effectively optimizing the benefits of the clay, and then just the pulling action. So hopefully, reducing some of that puffiness in the process by getting the stagnant capillaries circulated. So that would, I would definitely recommend that. Do you have any clay mask at home?
I do. I haven't used it. And I know that it's good to stack the derma roller with other things. I'm curious. I've been a bit nervous to accidentally go too deep with the derma roller and the microneedling. I know that's not necessarily an issue if you know what you're doing. So perhaps I should watch some videos on how to do it properly.
Yeah. The 1.5 is intense. Just with a little 0.25 or 0.5.
Is that the size of the needles?
Yeah. That's the length of the needles, but just, light to medium pressure. It just opens up these pathways and kind of, it's almost like acupuncture too. It's just interesting, the opening up of our pores and just releasing. What does that do from a detoxifying standpoint before you even put on a Alitura clay mask? I just think of those back mats. Remember, I don't know if you remember those bulletproof back mat, the sleeping mats with the little spikes. Some type of release that, little points and needles and at least acupressure and things like that do to just open up. And then you apply something like a clay on afterwards that has such an amazing capability of pulling out impurities and toxins, heavy metals. That's what I would do. It's a long-winded answer.
No, I like it. So the first step is to wash your face with some warm water and a washcloth, and then to apply then derma roll and then apply the clay mask afterward.
Yep. And then cold rinse to close the pores. That's a game changer right there. And then, your body just starts to, and then movement helps throughout the day. I don't know but just movement helps. Get that, what's kind of the puffiness, but what the bloat, I wouldn't call you bloated, but just movement helps. Just get the water moving around. Nah, dude, you look great.
So I was on a trip recently and I had my toiletries bag. Didn't realize until a couple of days ago when I got back that the one thing that got stolen from me was your gold serum. And I understand why they'd steal it. There's a lot of gold, precious ingredients in there. Walk me through your formulation and what makes gold serum and all of your other serums and creams, your products really so special.
No, thank you, man. So there was this company early on called Ancient Egyptian Magic. It had a 5-ingredient product. It was olive oil. I think I was drawn just because of the title, but it had bee propolis, royal jelly, olive oil, beeswax, honey, 5 ingredients. It was a thick consistency. I loved it. I had this pre-existing clay mask that I would do every Sunday night before a week of auditions when I was back acting. And that was my follow-up little moisturizer, night, whatever you want to call it. So years later, after the accident, I was looking, I don't know what it was, because I think just one day I started ordering the raw ingredients similar to what I was doing with the mask for a liquid product. Beeswax, cacao butter, sea buckthorn oil, melting down in a cast iron pan. This is how wasn't intended to be this way, but I wanted to create something similar to ancient Egyptian magic. And it turned to follow up the clay mask is like a nutrient dense healing paste. I've always been fascinated with bee products in general, antimicrobial, antifungal, antibacterial. It's just so, fascinating to me. Scientists are finding out more and more about, especially like the secretions from the queen to create the royal jelly, which is still just like the mana that the queen creates, and it just so healing. But honey as well, so dynamic. Beeswax is like basically a nutrient dense glycerin that that you can get so many different beautiful textures and consistencies with. So I knew I wanted to have that as my base and as many products as possible. And then Evan Healy, EVAN Healy, Healy, had a blue lavender cleansing milk that I would use. And just kind of just sharing. It's like, just, sometimes Eminence, May Lindstrom, those are the only two that like Blue Cocoon from May Lindstrom. Just amazing product, right? Eminence had like the strawberry rhubarb, but just what I was fascinated about were like the ingredients. It was just so much different than grabbing something. I'm not going to throw another brand under the bus, but it's poetry versus artificial, And that, since I was 18, 19 years old, I have a long story. I'll make a long story short. I had very bad back acne. On an off day in Berkeley, California, I went to this Chinese herbalist store on Shattuck Avenue in Berkeley, and I met with this guy. I think I was just trying to, I was getting made fun of, but it's not like I went there I was like led there. And I talked to this guy and I learned about the importance of ingredients. I was using Neutrogena, Clearasil, I think at the time. And he explained how Chinese philosophy of vitality and building your blood and cleansing your blood and removing impurities. And just, you got to pay attention to everything you consume, everything you put on top of your skin. I left that store. I bought my first supplement. It was Flora. I think they're still around. It was like a horsetail silica, aqueous horsetail silica extract. And so it was my first supplement. But I left there and went from those products to Dove, which had 5 ingredients. 2 of them are coconut-derived surfactants. So that signaled to me that at 18 years old, natural. But and then it was like, and it had an instant effect. I mean, I was still using Per Plus in the hair, but like on the face and body, there's no better feeling when you're growing into your body around 20-year-olds who are like more mature and you have just an embarrassing back acne and you have cystic acne on your face when you have clear skin and those mosquito bites all around. And when those go away, it's the best feeling in the world. And you show up to school a little bit more confident. It's just, I remember that. And so year after year, what are some of my products? I think it was a Cure, had a good scrub. So like brands that use just all clean ingredients. I'm talking ingredients that you can identify as being natural and not synthetic and artificial. Now, some of our peptides are lab made, but they all have natural elements to them. Our preservative system, right? Lactobacillus fermentation, we're using daikon radish and coconut, but lactobacillus, same ingredient, similar probiotic strain that you have in your yogurt. I love explaining that will protect the microbiome. Like phenoxyethanol, sodium benzoate, like the worst. These brands that are okay with just water, glycerin, alcohol, propylene glycol, butylene glycol, isoprene glycol, the synthetics that luckily people are starting to become more and more aware of with apps like Yuka. Take Dirty is great. You can just scan the UPC code and get a 0 to 100 rating on the cleanliness of your products. And you'd be very surprised it's good though. You get to, know your ingredients. It's, in my opinion, the most important thing to do because why would you ever rub like a trace percentage of a government recognized carcinogen on your largest detoxifying organ, your skin? And it was something you're repeating daily, right? Why would you do that? It is, to me, I don't know, it's mind-boggling to me that brands are still doing that. But the thing is, the world is going towards and learning more about the importance of what we put on top of our skin, no matter how much they try to hide it with their key ingredients and all these hoops and, courses you have to go through to find a full ingredient deck, where ours, like I was debating this year, switching our label and putting it on the back and having our ingredients on the front, because it's everything that I'm about and have been since day one. Very disappointed with what other companies are okay with putting into their bottles, but it's no art. Just look at it. We're now going to be, checking out EWG. I thought it was, a little expensive in the past, but I'm realizing it's a good opportunity to get in front of new customers. And so we're going to be going that route too. 100 out of 100 on Yuka with, I think all of our products that go 95 on one, but that's pretty legit. And so YUKA Yucca app. Highly recommend for the listeners out there that they download Think Dirty and Yucca app. They're great ways just to find out about trace toxins and elements into your, self-care products. It's really important.
Yeah, not even just self-care. Like when I'm going to the grocery store and I don't know what some things on the back of the label are, like very long chemical names, I'll scan it and see what those apps say about whether they're safe or questionable or dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah. Lab made, artificial, synthetics, just, I like refining forms of nature's creations, clays, extracts, botanicals, butters, explaining the process of, curing an essential oil from picking a fruit and then crushing the seed and the hiring a village to, work. I mean, that was originally how we got our essential oil blend for the Pearl Cleanser. And then, the supply chain on that was so difficult. We had to go a different route with organic oils, but that's what we did in the beginning. I mean, it's an obsession for ingredients that is definitely not optimal for supply chain, but it's my form of art. It's my truth. It's my curiosity. It's my passion, attention. Anyway, I love I found my thing with formulation, and also, now it's fashion as well. Getting away from polyester, polysorbates, polyester. Just, it screams styrofoam to me. It screams drywall. I want stone. I want ceramic. I want minerals, crystal. I want diamond, gold, natural elements, cacao pods, coffee beans, explore every part of that. We're using green coffee oil as like a mild diuretic, caffeine component in coffee.
What's the deal with that? I see like a lot of like hair care and skincare products that have caffeine or coffee in them. And is it because the caffeine is a diuretic?
That too, but also it can be a good delivery method for certain botanicals and extracts. We have it in our toner, which is combined with niacinamide and alcohol. It just refines the pores to a different level. Caffeine is energy. I know. Hold on, but I mean that's broad. It's general. So, but energizing the mitochondria of the cells. I mean, it just. I can't explain the science perfectly on that, but it makes complete sense to me to have in hair care products as well. It just theoretically, but for the skincare, I guess the mitigating of pores is probably the highlight for caffeine. But also, there's got to be something there that it does to the mitochondria. I can't confirm or deny that right now, but it's something to look at.
Andy, one of the things that struck me as I was looking at your products when I was first looking into skincare is just how clean they are. Based on everything you've described, like your formulas, you could pretty much consume these things. You could eat them because I guess your skin is technically consuming these things to begin with, and you want to be pushing good nutrients in through the skin instead of toxins. And I also saw that you guys won some awards. Was it through Yucca or someone that was rating you really highly in terms of overall cleanliness?
First off, thank you, by the way. I appreciate that. We do have a very high rating on Yucca. I think we're 100 across the board. First off, big shout out to that company because I think they're going into food as well. Scanning UPC code. So their brand, I believe, out of Canada, YUKA. But yeah, that's the thing. I wanted to just be. The truth is, in the beginning, there weren't any brands that didn't have one type of hole in there, whether it was fragrance, glycerin, a preservative that I didn't know. And this was at Air One in LA, like a really good cosmetic section. And so that's besides ancient Egyptian magic. And I really like blue lavender cleansing milk from Evan Healy. I think that's pretty close to a perfect product, but I didn't like the preservative they're using and a couple other different elements. And so we made the Pearl Cleanser, but those were what I was using beforehand. But it was so hard to find something without a hole. That's really what got me into this. I create, in my opinion, no hole products. You don't have any of those things you have to ask me about in the conference booth that I can't answer without like positive emphasis. Even our preservative, we have a lactobacillus fermentation that we combine with daikon radish and a little coconut fermentation. Same strain, probiotic strain is like the strain that's in your yogurt. And just, helping protect the microbiome. That's our preservative system combined with myrrh glass, that their whole motto is preserved by the bottle, not by toxins, by mitigating the artificial artificial light and UV rays, and only allowing the good violet light to enhance the life of, tomato paste, originally made for tomato paste, like natural food products to enhance the life over time. It's like kind of like the fine wine situation where it really enhances the life of natural ingredients. And so it just was a no-brainer to go that route as our packaging system. But I really like for the color as well. But it's anybody using their own glass is doing it right. Allows you more freedom with your botanicals and to get more dynamic with your raw extracts.
What's so cool about that too is we're in the era of microplastics and nanoplastics and bisphenols and all these other chemicals that are everywhere. They're in like the water, they're in a lot of the products we're using, but by using that like really high quality glass, you're like creating the opposite. Not only is it not getting contaminated with those ingredients or those toxic substances, but it's actually enhancing and preserving and amplifying everything else that you're putting in there that's beneficial.
By manipulating the light frequency that touches and doesn't touch the raw ingredients, it just mitigates the oxidation and mitigates the possibility for mold and the oxidation of the formula.
Yeah. And we're also in an era where light and therapeutic light and manipulating and modulating light is also growing really quickly. So it's cool to see that you guys already like figured this out and are building this into your products.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned several times things to look out for, such as some of the stabilizers and things. You've also told me in a previous conversation that it's almost like baking a cake. When you look at the ingredients panel of a lot of products, there's certain things you want to make sure that you don't see as the top, I think it's 5 ingredients or so.
Yeah, it's just ingredient decks first off, it just blows my mind how difficult it is to find a full ingredient deck with a lot of these clever companies these days. And as the world leans towards healthier products, we get to show what we've been about since day one. It's very expensive to create clean products at the level that we do. $31 for our $89 body lotion. I'll just tell you our cost on that. So if we wholesale that, we're making a little over $10, and that's fine.
And that's something people don't understand either, is like a lot of the $80 products out there that the consumer's paying $80 cost them pennies or maybe a couple of dollars maximum to make.
It's our bottle, I would wager, our bottle and pump, no formula for that body lotion is more expensive than entire formulas. I mean that at the volume of some of these big brands.
Yeah.
At the volume, you got to understand these raw ingredients, especially it's already just glycerin is pennies, water is free, and then you combine 3 different forms of alcohol, butylene glycol, these synthetic peptides and synthetic fillers and additives are basically free. Then you come up with a nice plastic bottle that's under 10 cents, and then direct on the bottle, maybe another 3-cent upcharge. I'm telling you, these formulas are a lot cheaper than people think. Box is under 10, 15 cents at certain people's volume. So you got to understand that bottle pump is $2.72. That's bottle and pump, So, and I mean that. And so this is my big challenge to other brands. How clean can you get? How clean can you get? And then just go, because customers are looking for clean products and they're looking for truth and honesty in that. And we can all read. I just highly suggest people to download Think Dirty Yucca app, start scanning brands. And a lot of companies are going to give you a big, beautiful marketing presentation on their, they have to do these V2s because now they're getting called out on the butylene, propylene glycol. Just saw something how that it's isoprene glycol got replaced for propylene. And now it's like, that's a cleaner version. It's a 4 out of 10 as opposed to 1 or 2. And it's insulting though. Come on. It's not better. It's not so anyway, it's a big passion and responsibility of mine just to do my best. And here's what I did without knowing business. No, I want purity. People will come in droves for quality. I know I will, always will. Farmers markets, you love people's story and explaining how they grew something. I would pay whatever. You just look that person in their eye and it's just like, I use a little cayenne pepper. I'm not using herbicides or pesticides. Boom. I love that. I'll go with that guy and he explains the dynamic mineral capacity of the soil. I mean, this is a gentleman out in Ohio. Anyway, I just love that. People that can talk about their art and the lengths they went to for a clean product that you are then going to put on top of your largest organ. Aren't you like, from a human level, wouldn't you, here's what I did for you, and you can do this every day for as long as you want. Hopefully you love it. It's all about results with us. It's never about the ingredients, and because that's like the first thing, but it should be the most important one. Like I create perfection. Every one of our products, I wouldn't change a decimal point. Back in 2013, still wouldn't. Something different. How did I know? I just, I'm very proud of the formulas that we had in 2015, 16, 17, night cream, 2015, no water in that formula, 2 different plant-derived stem cells, Edelweiss, Gardenia, CoQ10, Chaga, first 4-hour milky grass-fed colostrum, Manuka honey, 10% vegan hyaluronic acid. What else? And it's thick. A little goes a long way. A 50 millimeter jar will last you, 2 months? I'm not worried about a subscription model getting you on that 1 month, 30 mil. Oh, let's run up the bank account. No, we're very smart, and we love when people are considerate and mindful and thoughtful towards our health and wellness. That's in my DNA and hardwired and will never leave. And so it's a fun part right now to just show what we've been about since day one. And I'm not going to call out individuals. It's just you see them at conferences. And I love to compete. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I love that you're bringing the farmer's market mentality of this, where it's like obsession over the details and quality. It has like that nostalgic, like small scale, like batch, like artisan feel. Yet it's also like you're able to create enough scale where you can get this out to other people around the world. And it's not like just because it's artisan that it's going to expire a week after you get it. Like I've noticed myself that when I use your products, a tiny bit goes a very long way versus the other ones. Like, first of all, the ingredient profile is not usually very impressive, but then it's like very watery, and a huge container lasts barely a month.
Yeah, it's just what would I want as a consumer? Ingredients, value, volume. That's in performance. And I have extremely sensitive skin. I just started building these. It was never supposed to be a business. That clay mask and paste, which is now our night cream, 100% healed my skin. I just had friends who were asking what I did, who saw me in the ICU, because it was a legitimate, dramatic change within 3 to 4 weeks. But until I started talking, because my jaw was still wired shut and my teeth were gone. But like the scarring, swelling was still, out a little bit, but the abrasion, skin was clear. I mean, it just that true, like legitimate double take. What did you do? I'm like, oh, all right, I needed that though, and just started sharing what I was building in my little bedroom. Moved everything out of my bedroom in a 660 square foot apartment in North Hollywood, California, into my living room. Made that bedroom my lab. Put in my inversion table, and just went to work. And started making more of this mask, and went around town to friends of friends, people who I didn't even know, little bamboo bowl, lavender, apple cider vinegar, and just mixing up the clay mask. All I wanted was like just some feedback, right? People would take pictures. I'd post that because in that time I was recovering and this intense period of my life. So like I would just share it back then on social media. All the eyeballs got on, so the algorithm was in place. I would do Instagram or Facebook. I wasn't even on Instagram, I don't think. Yeah, it wasn't. I didn't get on Instagram until like 2014 or 15. But back on those Facebook Lives, I was just kind of sharing what I was doing in my recovery. Started drinking bulletproof coffee for the first time. So just drinking coffee with this weird clay mask and going, dude, every now and then people would ask about it, like online. But I had a friend of mine, Mary Halls, who owned a med spa in San Diego, California called Alvarado Skin Institute. So I drove down there, shared the mask with her. She loved it. And then she asked if she could try it out on a few of her customers. They loved it too. So they brought it on board as a clay-based facial treatment mask, mineralizing clay-based facial treatment mask. And there was no name for the company. I thought it was unbelievable that like it's now in a spa. Like what a victory. At that point, I was back, like, modeling and acting again, which is great. Like, I didn't think I was told I would never do it again. And I had to shoot like 6 months. I had a runway job 8 weeks later. And then after that, I had a shoot 6 or 7 months, not trying to make this big whole model, thing. But anyways, it was back to like my thing that I told I wasn't going to be able to ever do. And I kind of understood it at the time. I was unrecognizable. So like those little victories were building back my spirit, and, this clay and people just want to know what I did. And like, I was back in the industry. And so that was a victory right there. And so people want to know what I would do. Like, here's what it is. Like a guy I was so nervous and kind of shy, with my buddies. Like, I just remember going over to my friend's house, but they still did it though. Like 4 or 5 guys sitting around. I think they were going to go out that night. I had to work, but just sitting around explaining, a lot of these guys, what's that? Next thing you know, we're all sitting in that living room with the clay mask on. I was like, that's cool. I just want to know. They loved it. That's the thing. We do care about like taking care of ourselves and looking and feeling good. And so it just, that was never intended to be anything, but I loved the reactions. I knew I had something, even when like the most like, critical, they're out there. It's okay. You're allowed to have your opinion, but the victory is like the most discerning customer. Like, man, they just get this glow in their eyes, whether after trying the product or trying it the night before. Conferences are the best because I've seen and heard it. It's okay. I'm passionate. sometimes, people have questions, but I go, just do it tonight and come here and just tell me how you feel in the morning. It's just, it's, because a clay mask and what I share and what it did for me, it's kind of hard to believe, but man, there's nothing I believe in more. And there's no other treatment that I would do other than the clay mask. Like I've tried, lasers, microneedling, all that unpredictable downtime. I know what I'm getting every single time with that clay mask derma roller combo.
Well, Andy, you've teased several times about your jaw being wired shut and that you might not ever act and model again. Will you walk us through your story? What exactly happened? Why would you be concerned of those things? Yeah,
well, I'm sorry, I didn't touch on that. March 20th, 2011, I was crossing the street in Los Angeles, California. Got hit by a westbound heading Land Rover, not Tundra, in the eastbound lane, run over by a Land Rover, and clothes cut off me in the middle of the street. Woke up at Cedars-Sinai ICU with a compound fracture of my jaw, 7 broken ribs, collapsed lung, just on a morphine drip. Just quickly found out the severity of what had happened the night before. And it was a long road to recovery, but my ankles, my elbows, my wrists, shoulders, I was, all intact. I could walk. Like, people don't survive those accidents. I remember, my nurse was a former Marine. He's like, hey, just want to let you know, like, as I was leaving, he's like, any day you can walk out of the hospital, it's a pretty good day. Good luck at the recovery, and that really set the tone for just my mindset moving forward. I was alive. Like, my family was around. Like, wow, I dodged a big time bullet there.
That's quite the story. I'm glad. I would never have guessed by looking at you now.
Yeah, no, it's, I don't know. I'm very grateful to be alive, and I'll never look the same, but I don't even think about that anymore. That's like one of the first or second times I've ever thought about that.
Yeah, the fact that you could also get through this far into the interview and not even bring that up shows that you are living proof of what you can do when you take care of yourself, choose to work on yourself consistently.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. It led to a lot. I can't imagine doing anything else. I mean, this is my flat out thing. I really mean that though, too. It's just, I believe you have to have people like that though in this industry. I know I'm not alone. There's so many beautiful people in the skincare. Anne-Marie Gianni, huge fan. Osea, great people. May Lindstrom, haven't met, but a huge fan. Eminence, pioneers, set the tone early on with their formulation just of purity. That is art. your ingredient deck to me says a lot about you individually. I love the Etsy's, the smaller creators that you find some very impressive formulas on Etsy. But just the purists, just results focused, customer focused. The fact that we're 11 years into this, it was just from one product to the other, one by one, like learning how to create a liquid product, finally finding a product or a manufacturer to create what was then my moisturizer, then night cream, body lotion, gold serum, angel's mist, but then realizing they couldn't make a cleanser for me. And then, so I have 7 different manufacturers for 15 different products. It's going to be 17. Yeah. So that's a lot of different phone calls you got to make for supply chain, different formulations. I have several different chemists too. And so, I don't know if I've shared that, but it's awesome. I love that part. Detail. It's beyond obsession. It's, this is, it's just like making an album. How good can you make it? And people can read it off you in the booth or podcasts. It's just like there are so many quality kick-ass ingredients that didn't make the cut. What you're going to hold for the rest, as long as I'm running Alitura, is perfection that I worked a very long time on. I mean, our meteorites go 5-6 years, and it should have been 3 to 4, but because we had it wrapped up 2 years before we actually released it. I was working on the sugarcane tube, from Brazil, but found out, a year into it, that had a trace element of plastic in the sugarcane tube that would have seeped into the formula. All I wanted was that for a little visual variance, and also to be able to share my customers that, we went sugarcane. This is 2016, something like that. 17, I think, or 18. But when we first got into that conversation, yeah. But then we ended up going mirror glass, and it's just the unnecessary things aren't unnecessary to me. I don't speed up anything in that process. This is your offering, man. And I still, it's a little bit different business than I've seen. I've heard it all, burnout. I just, getting rid of alcohol was like a superpower. So I'm excited. I call this year 2 because I'm a little over 2 years sober from booze, but I get to lock in daily and have true energy and clarity towards something that is a gift, to be able to have Alitura, to be able to have purpose and responsibility to people that take their hard-earned money to take a chance and believe in my products and continue to leave reviews that lift my soul and heart. And what else fuels, that I'm sure you can relate. There's nothing that fuels me more than having that. And it's a big responsibility, but perfect time to have it, considering where we're at as a world and cleanliness, pointing out the yellow 5 and yellow 6. Finally. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It does. That's toxic buildup over time. A good friend of mine is getting blood work right now that they can't, the mycotoxins, what was the other? Daylates. Yeah, phthalates. Just thick on that blood work. This person is a very healthy individual. They had one thing that they were using, and it's a brand for decades that they were encouraged to use. So it's a big passion of mine. And I was told certain things don't matter. Now we're finding out they do. Purity of ingredients, what you put on top of your largest detoxifying organ, your skin, should never have a trace element of any toxin that you're putting on top of it. And these brands switching from butylene, propylene glycol to isoprene and putting the big wool over the eyes of the customer, focusing on key ingredients. Where's that full ingredient deck though? It's a responsibility. Get that full ingredient deck, put it up, take pride in it. Why are you hiding? Why are you hiding these on these landing pages? Key ingredients, key benefits. We want to see that full ingredient deck. Don't lie. Come on. It's rampant these days, and I'm disgusted with it. Seriously.
It's like the plastic water bottle companies. They have a big BPA free sticker. It's like, oh, that's great, until you realize they're using chemical analogs like BPE and BPS that are just as toxic as BPA.
Yeah. It's just it's very deceptive. So like deception and cheap is what I'm going against. You know what I mean? And then like, and in my opinion, the lack of mindfulness, like, and then less volume, and then like greed, more money. That's what I get to go against. And I'm a competitor. So this was a gift to me. Like we give back all in the process. If I broke even on this, I'd be just fine. And so this is my heartbeat and a bottle pretty much, man. That's 100% true.
Well, what's going to happen too is over time, you're going to be exonerated while it comes out that more and more of these ingredients that other companies are using and they're just so prevalent and ubiquitous in our lives are actually really bad. Then all of a sudden people see your brand and that you've been doing things right the whole time. And it's a big check mark of quality that you didn't fall into the same gimmick.
Proud to pay quality, because I'm so big about like, this says everything about you. Like it's just, I wouldn't just have a business just to make money. I know it sounds stupid. I guess that's what business is for, entrepreneur, but it's different. It's unique, but I stand by what I just said. And this is my art. When you can combine both and it turns into livelihood, okay, call me lucky or whatever. I'm beyond grateful. And this is a responsibility. If you turn some type of art and curiosity and passion that all stemmed from an event that nearly took your life and led into something that poured gas on those embers of creativity, and sourcing is one component, but it's also the human element. With no AI, we're a smaller staff. I'm still on social media. You know, I'm writing the emails every now and then too, working with the copywriter. We're both dialing in the voice, and we're never going to be too big because I love this. Like, why would I pass it off to somebody else? And it involves creativity. And there's also such a big demand for pure products, and it's all encompassing the clothing that we wear. This, unfortunately, is a shirt that could have been organic cotton, but that's, you know what I mean? But it's not. And it's our largest organ. Like I wouldn't call myself a hypocrite right now, but I'm just saying, like, down the road, like, it's all encompassing. Who knows? Fashion maybe next. Alitura lifestyle. We start getting into supplements. This is everything that I do. It's not just skincare. It's supplements including in that too. Our revitalized supplement made 2015, leucine. Like, I don't know if you look at leucine, amino acid that I supplement with anyways, and it also helps with the absorption of the, adaptogens. Like we have chocolate, reishi, spirulina, schizandra, ashwagandha, ganoderma. It's a game changer. Divine 9 too in that formula. But we're using leucine as our flowing agent, not microcellulose, sodium dioxide, sulfur dioxide. It just, everything matters, but it mattered back then too. And we've only gotten better, just there are weird people out there that are obsessed with, not weird, but just, eccentric people out there that are obsessed with their opportunity and their art. This is mine. And going against, I just look at it as an opportunity to compete in an industry for what's right.
I will always pick the person who is putting their everything into it. They're obsessing over their ingredient profile. They're pouring their lifeblood into their offering to the world. Hard to argue that person's going to do a worse job than someone who's like, oh, well, I outsource this all. Like, I look at the business every great once in a while, and it seems to be doing well.
Thank you, man. I mean, I'm glad you see that and feel that. That's 100% just what it is. It's not like I designed it that way. I got very lucky, and this is an opportunity. And I'm seeing lack of truth and a little manipulation, deception, dishonesty. We love going against that. Yeah.
Because I mean, the truth always prevails over a long enough time horizon. And so if you just keep doing the right thing, it'll become apparent eventually.
Yeah. And it's fun too. Like, people are buying something that I made and they have questions. Absolutely. You better believe we have different protocols and tips, and the FAQs are fun. We'll hop on the phone. It's different.
Were you saying the leucine is an oral formulation, or is that part of the skincare line?
It's our first supplement. Revitalize. I'll send you a bottle of that, dude. But it's a game changer. It's very similar to Stem Regen. Stem Regen's huge, right? Very similar ingredient deck and profile. Similar adaptogens. that I made in 2000, 14, 15. Anyway, so adaptogenic herbs really help build my bloody build my body back by really my blood and cleansing my blood with adaptogenic herbs and that formula. I drove around town, met with Jing herbs, dragon herbs. I went to Air One, met with Truth Calkin, Sage Dammers, Crosby, who else? Daniel Vitalis played a big role. David Wolf, excuse me. But the OGs in the early, I mean, dude, I'm like about to be 44. So this was 20 something years ago that I really started diving into just herbs, and then, started to grow a little bit more year over year because it's effective. It changed my life, changed how I felt, changed the activity, changed the workout performance, changed the recovery, changed the mental. It just kept, because it was so, it affected how I felt and looked. So it gets better every year. And so I had that in my back pocket, kind of going into formulation and how I was going to recover after such a big accident that I went through. But health and wellness, learning your ingredients, getting just nutrition and what you put on top of your skin, the clothing you're wearing, sunlight you're getting or the sunlight you're not getting, sweating. I think you would agree, primal grounding, starting to ground every day, breath work every morning right after that. And I'm kind of going on a little tangent here.
No, I love this. This is right up my alley. And I agree with you on all those. To make sure I get the chronology of this all right, you were interested in herbs to revitalize and build your blood at a younger age. Then you had your accident. And after your accident, you started building your own formulations. Is that the right order?
Yes. Yeah, I kind of went, to the early stages where the passion began, life changed, back acne cleared up, boom, gained confidence. Stay the course on those natural ingredient products. Boom, went down to LA, became an actor model, learned about clay. So that was the thing, because clay, that's the only reason I had that clay mask going. Found out about Aztec healing clay. Boom, one ingredient, source bentonite elsewhere. In that sourcing, met Jason Eaton from greenclays.net, found out about pyrophyllite, iolite, rasul, molten kaolin, zeolite, and then the different forms internally, externally, and the benefits of different clays. And it was cheap, so I would just order all of them and make these little concoctions, as opposed to this one Aztec healing clay. It was 2006 to 2010-ish. Is just playing around. I think at that point I had added kelp powder and I think vitamin C, but I just it was all just start from the Aztec healing clay, and then expanding my knowledge on clays in general, and then adding different extracts and experimenting based on particle size and just trial and error. And then the accident was a perfect, but this was just like my Sunday routine to refresh before a week of auditions. I was in the entertainment industry for a little bit, so that was my little thing, because I couldn't afford facials and things like that. But it worked. And then the accident, basically I had that going. And then in the process of trying to figure out how I was going to build my system back, I came up with this ingredient deck for a tonic that I would make in a smoothie every morning, kind of put through a little straw in the back corner of my mouth. My jaw was wired shut. So some of those ingredients in that tonic, I would then put in, experiment into that clay mask, and then that supplement turned out to be a revitalized clay mask, turned out to be the Alitura clay mask, and then that little paste turned out to be our night cream. But that's 100% how it happened, and just I had nothing but time. And then there's a lot of information out there. You have a little bit of money, clays aren't that expensive. Raw ingredients like beeswax, sea buckthorn definitely is. Plant-derived stem cells can be, but it's all at your fingertips and how bad you want it.
What's cool too is that a lot of the ingredients you've mentioned so far, like astaxanthin and copper peptide, those are typically ingested or injected in I guess the copper peptide example. But also, if you can't consume it orally, or you don't want to inject it, or you just want a different delivery mechanism, you can put that on your skin and you can get the photoprotective effects. Like when I was in Baja, I was using this because the UV index was really high there, and it helped protect me against the sun and gave my skin a little extra fortification.
Nice. Yeah. It's barriers, I just when you put on a clay mask, you go sit outside, put a little on your, arm or leg, that the sun doesn't penetrate that. So, I mean, that's just like an example of what certain barriers can do, which is why I'm interested with adding not only non-nano zinc we're working on our sunscreen right now, but also different clays and pearl powder. So, I mean, those were once hard, those come from mother of pearl. Clays, often just rich mineral deposits that were solid at one point. And so just combining those barriers along with non-nano zinc, which has been proven one of the only things, titanium dioxide as well, to protect against sun rays. So, but we also want to, absorb some of that. So we're adding gold into our sunscreen as well as other copper peptide as well, just to respect and get some type of conductor element from the gold, in my opinion. Well, to get some element of the benefits from the sun while protecting from it, respecting while protecting. It's a really unique formula and also way we're going about it, because I love sunlight and what we want to ensure protection, above and beyond clean ingredients, but also just some type of benefit that we can get from the gold. Gold and sun, I just think go hand in hand and have so much more energy towards it. But this is all theory. I got to figure out how to explain it, but it's in there for a reason. Gold is one of my favorite elements and ingredients. And so we'll see for that.
Some of the ancient cultures used to consume gold too, because they felt that it would increase the conductivity of their body and they could more easily access higher realms and a greater state of consciousness.
Can I take that and can you send that to me after the show?
Yes, absolutely.
It's beautiful. Exactly. I think I'd read that somewhere as well. That was a great explanation of exactly how and why I want to use it.
Yeah, what's cool is you're really bioharmonizing the light. You're helping the body get the most out of it and minimizing the potential damage and things that are the negatives of overexposure to light.
Yes, all great things.
Yeah, absolutely. Andy, what else? So you've mentioned a bunch of different ingredients that are in your formulas. Are there any that you find, you mentioned gold just now, any others you find particularly fascinating or that you think will get more attention in the coming years?
Frankincense, myrrh, boswellia, blue lotus, mastic. Mastic is interesting. It's a little sticky, but it's dense. It's bitter. That's medicine, in my opinion. Mastic, M-A-S-T-I-C.
They make gum out of mastic, don't they?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Okay.
It's huge in Greece. But I think you can powder it. I think there's anything like that similar to beeswax, in my opinion. And also the resin from frankincense tree, boswellia.
And those two are often essential oils. I think I have some boswellia and frankincense over there.
Yeah, no, but also the paste, the powder. You can emulsify it and reconstitute it as a base, as a beyond a healing, thickener to the formula, as opposed to glycerin, which is often soy based. That's the thing.
It's also profoundly anti-inflammatory, I think. And I think it also, it might have, I'm sure it has other mechanisms that will later be oh, it's a senolytic, it's a senomorphic, it's something else that we don't even know necessarily yet.
Exactly. But frankincense and myrrh, blue lotus, gold, propolis, honey, beeswax, been used for thousands of years. Those are the ingredients, those remedies, those time-tested ancestral remedies are what we want to pay respect to. It's just so interesting. I'm just very curious and interested in Egypt. It just has a very powerful place in my heart. I keep in touch with more people from Aswan, Egypt than I do after 16 years in LA. We're already talking about potentially, a plot of land right along the Nile. We're crunching numbers right now. It may happen to grow jasmine and blue lotus from seed right along the Nile. My brother Bassam, what if that happens? If it could really quickly, but it'd be a complicated, back and forth. But
it's so cool. And there's also, that's one of those areas of the world I think that Egypt and Africa, there's going to be an explosion of like our understanding and knowledge of the different ingredients and substances that come out of there because they're pretty untapped.
Yeah, I just said it yesterday. A friend asked me about iboga. Interested. That is, God, you hit the nail on the head. There's so much out there that we haven't even extracted yet, cracked open, looked into, tested, trial and error on so many different things. That's just a huge part of the curious element for me. And you're absolutely right. Africa, like I keep thinking Lagos and Nigeria and Eritrea. Ethiopia. There's a lot of healing medicine located in our earth and in the plants in this world. And I want to explore other cultures and find out what they're doing for their health, wellness, to calm their system, to reduce inflammation, to slow down the acceleration of disease. And a lot of the time it's community, sunlight, good whole foods, movement. You see these lean, people walking around in their 70s, vibrant, smiling, sure their skin's a little, it's already, that's how I want to be active and, healthy. And it comes with what we're consuming, how we're feeling, how much sun we're absorbing, what we're putting on top of our skin, how much we're sweating out through movement and activity. But yeah, kind of going on a tangent, but yeah, ingredients, sourcing them, and then meeting people along the way is a huge part of this.
In addition to the plants and botanicals, there's also so much ancient wisdom in the people who have been stewards of the land over there in different parts of the world, that by having a place there or a facility or something, you'll be in more close proximity to that, and you can bring some of that into the Western world. You can modernize some of that ancient wisdom.
Absolutely. And pay extreme respect to it. That's a big part of why the ingredients are in our formula. Big tribute to Egyptian ancestral remedies.
Well, Andy, I know we have to start wrapping this one up. You've been gracious with your time today. If people want to connect with you to give AlituraNaturals, are you AlituraNaturals still, or are you just Alitura?
Oh, it's AlituraNaturals as a brand, but alitura.com is the website. We like to have that naturals just to show a little bit more than the word Alitura.
Well, you guys can go over there and check out some of his creams, his serums, his products. He also was generous enough to set up the code URBAN. So if you guys use that, that should save you on any orders with him. And he's also going to be at a number of different health and wellness events over the next couple months. So if you happen to be in Austin for the Health Optimization Summit or the Biohacking Conference, go over here, join us, and give his products a shot in person yourself.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me on, Nick. This is a fun conversation. I appreciate you pointing out the intricacies of Alitura. I love what I do. And it's people like yourself that give me the platform and opportunity to share what we're about. So thanks for having me on.
And I appreciate you bringing light and knowledge about a lot of these substances, specifically the clays today that you mentioned. You rattled off, and I've never heard of a lot of them. So now I have my own research to do. But it's nice to know that I can trust a company when they actually show their full ingredient deck and they've been vetted by third parties that they actually do things right. So thank you for creating awesome formulas.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.
I hope that this has been helpful for you. If you enjoyed it, subscribe and hit the thumbs up. I love knowing who's in the 1% committed to reaching their full potential. Comment 1% below so that I know who you are. For all the resources and links, meet me on my website at mindbodypeak.com. I appreciate you and look forward to connecting with you. As a reminder, the information depicted in this video is for information purposes only. Please consult your primary healthcare professional before making any lifestyle changes.